It's showtime.
Hello and welcome to the In All Fairness podcast.
This high-class Hollywood orgy.
Listen, go fuck yourself with your broken computer.
See you at the party, Richter.
Do I hold the button before putting it in my mouth or after?
Stick around.
Well, the challenge for me, I was thinking of putting this on a post, specifically on, there's a few Reddits about it, but the challenge would be use the same or similar themes and sort of a similar sort of structure, if you know what I mean, and see if you can make a more entertaining or a better story.
Yeah.
And so that's how. Now, it was specifically for Last Jedi, and I don't have a conclusion for 9 really, but there are some assumptions I'll make now that Force Awakens is different as well in this. And I change it as small as I can, but there's a few things I would change in Force Awakens first before going into this. So 1, Starkiller Base never happens. Doesn't exist. There is not another super weapon. Instead, it's a bit more in line with Pearl Harbor or Battlestar Galactica or even what Thrawn does in a way. It's a sudden, quick, unbelievable blitzkrieg on the rebel fleet.
Yeah.
Gets them while they're slipping, basically. Wipes them out. Preemptive strike. Wipes out a bunch of them, keeps them scattered and chaotic by an Imperial remnant.
Right.
Sure, I keep that. 2, Han is not a smuggler, again, in this, per se. He doesn't become a deadbeat dad. In my version I would have preferred, I guess, is what you could call it, or a version I'm pitching currently, Han has turned his old ways good, if you know what I mean. He and Leia both threw themselves into their work because they didn't get divorced, still love each other, but it's hard to be around each other because they're reminded of their loss. They threw each other into their work. Leia as a stateswoman, and Han is instead on the outer reaches. They know that there is something like the First Order happening, and where he was a smuggler in the past, now he's a smuggler to get people out of there. He helps refugees from afflicted areas. He's using his old smuggler stuff for good in his old networks. Kind of like how in the EU, Han was getting smugglers on the rebel side, if you know what I mean. He was getting those people onto the New Republic side. He still keep that, and that's what Han is doing. He's thrown himself into his work. Him and Chewie are on the outer rim or around the wild space, unknown regions, getting people out of there because they know the First Order is doing stuff. The First Order's army is made up of stolen people, but they've got sort of vassal states. So their kind of thing is, we will fucking destroy you unless you give us your children, sort of, so we can have soldiers for our army. And they take them young and they indoctrinate them. And that's what Captain Phasma is like the kind of head sort of dragon of that, if you know what I mean. And that's where Finn came from. He was taken from some random place, but that's what they do. And this is Han helps people get away from that or try to stop this from happening. This is where there are small skirmishes on the border. They know they exist. They had no idea they had amassed this amount of stuff. They come out of nowhere and attack and cripple them. That's how I would have had that happen. So I would have also had Hux be far more competent in Force Awakens. Hux, if he's not Thrawn, he's a Thrawn-like person. He's incredibly competent.
Yeah.
And I would have him in the classic sort of Thrawn or Imperial way, is that their relationship with Snoke is not a worshipful one like the Emperor or a commanding one. They are very much using each other symbiotically for now, but that the Imperials do not trust him and do not like him. And I would have made it that the First Order is a play on words, but I'll get to that later. So that's how I would have gone in that. Rey, I think, would still maybe... I don't know if she'd necessarily fully defeat Kylo. She might wound him, but she might hold her own and it might really shock him, if you know what I mean. I don't think she makes an ass of him. She probably does give him the scar, and she does fight back against him.
Yeah.
But crucially, I think she might use a bit more rage while doing it, because she's completely untrained.
Yeah.
So that's Force Awakens setup. Ends the same way, lightsaber hand to the thing and all that.
Yeah.
Now, I guess how you could do it for her and Luke is that the reason for Luke's exile isn't that he gave up. If you want to kind of flesh out the world. It would be explained.
We're into Force Awakens now.
No, we're into Last Jedi now.
Or Last Jedi, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How you would sort of explain the background. To give maybe a motivation for Kylo, one that I had floated is because it's tragic. Kylo seems to have just gone bad just to go bad, or he's been corrupted, but corrupted is kind of left open. How that could have been was, there's a thing in the EU, again mining the EU, is Kylo is kind of based off Jason Solo, and Jason Solo goes on a bit of a walkabout and goes to all these different Force traditions to learn from them. So ideally you'd have maybe flashbacks or learn bits that when Luke was founding the Jedi Order, I would play more in the sort of mythological Luke, that everyone is aware that the Force just got balanced, and there is a balancer, and there is probably a word for Luke in a few different languages, like he is the one who balanced the Force. So Luke goes and he's kind of announced he's going to rebuild the Jedi Order, and different sort of Force traditions are coming forward. He'd have to go around to research and find them, establish connections. So with people, Darksiders as well, like the Night Sisters, if any of them are left, I can't remember in canon. And the Wills, the Guardians of the Wills, like the guys at Jeddah, like Chirrut Way. People like that just going around kind of learning their traditions as well and coming with them. And Kylo would be with him while he was learning. Now, I would have probably given Luke a family, and I would have probably made Kylo's thing, his motivation is that Kylo accidentally killed Luke's son in training. He got a bit too ragey, or they both went on a mission and his actions got him killed. And that Snoke is someone they encountered. Knights of Ren, I believe, according to J.J. Abrams, existed before Kylo. He's called the Master of the Knights of Ren, though, by Snoke. So they would have shown up as Snoke's people, and Kylo would have seen Snoke heal someone in a tournament or bring someone back to life, what he thought was back to life, and realised that it was possible. And he would have been intimated to him that, like, yeah, Luke is human and he doesn't like you. He'll always have that again. You killed his son. And it would give him the hope and the promise that there was a way to correct his mistake. That was sort of secretly why he was going into, I can go as far as I want to, because I know if I go far enough, I'll be able to fix everything. Yeah. Because I'll learn how to. But it's a lie, obviously. He's never going to share that power with you. But the reason that Luke is on the island, I guess I'm getting to that. I would have it more that not Luke went in and felt the presence over Kylo and pulled his lightsaber. I'd have that Snoke bridge their minds like he did with Rey. And he made Luke see something and run in thinking Kylo was under attack. And he made Kylo see something else. Yeah. And that Luke runs in, saber drawn, and in that moment Kylo is convinced, oh yeah, he isn't pure as well. He's fucking come to kill me. He's always wanted to kill me. Sort of because of what I did to his son. And brings the house down on top of them. Now, then, of course, the whole thing, everybody wakes up. Yeah. The students come out. Kylo doesn't necessarily want to fight, but they just saw this. It's kind of confused. I would maybe put Mara Jade in this as well. That she's there. She's Luke's wife. You don't necessarily have to give all the backstory for that. And maybe Luke has another child as well. But she's kind of with a few of the kids as well. And some of the older students are coming at Kylo. And they, he can't really explain himself. They kind of fly into it. He is holding them off. Knights of Ren arrive. And they start helping him. And he starts, fuck it. And he gives in. And he's like fighting with them. They start wiping people out. And he says, like, you can either fucking come with me, or, you'll all be killed. And some of them come with him. And some of them stay. And, Kylo gets on the ship and he goes, fuck it, we're done here. And they leave. Now, I would have probably had that Luke was hiding, wasn't entirely knocked out, or that he was trying to hide people from them. And that would be a thing I'd reveal later. But the reason that Luke has fled is that Luke wants to fix this. So he goes, but the reason he's at the first Jedi Temple is not to destroy everything. It's because that's a very, very powerful place. That's ground zero for the connection with the light side, and you could nail some really cool things in with the mythology, bring it back into its roots of like Taoism and Buddhism that Lucas went into. So you could explain to Rey that this is the place on that stone altar where Luke was sitting when he did the projection. This is where the Prime Jedi sat and looked out, and all at once was one with everything, like Buddha under the Bodhi tree. he felt himself in the rocks and the trees and everything, and it took everything to come back and stand back up again and tell everyone the way into the living force. But the reason he's there is because it's such a powerful place he can amplify it. He's there to meditate a way to a problem, a way to fix this, but also so he can use the enhanced power of the place to guide his dead students into the living force, into become oneness. Because if he leaves them stranded out there, their spirits and that, he's failed them again. So it's still his duty as a master. Like, I can't leave them again. I have to help guide them over. I have to find a way to fix Luke. And from here, you could also make that he's able to cloud Snoke's vision. Like, Snoke doesn't know where he is. He can't find him. They need that map. That's the sort of MacGuffin of the whole thing. But that's what... And you could explain that a previous fight with him, and that's why Snoke is fucked up, is that Snoke probably looks for... I see Snoke a bit like Juru Sabayoth in the Thrawn trilogy. Is that he's interested in molding Force sensitives to his side. So when the Force was balanced and Luke was going making his new Jedi Order, a bunch of Force sensitive potentials start getting born, because it's, you know, a new chapter started, if you know what I mean. And that's the kind of looking for kids. Like, that's what I would probably make Rey. There was a very powerful one that they went after, and they had to hide from Snoke. She was going to go get trained with Luke. All of this shit happened. And I would have it revealed that they left her on Jakku, and they had Lor San Tekka there to look after her. But they get to Jakku, she's just a child. Luke, all his surviving students, he knows they're all in danger. He wipes all of their minds. Or he takes them out of the fight. You're not... I have to... The character flaw for Luke in this would be the problem of being a legend, like in Last Jedi, but that he doesn't reach out for help is his problem. He takes all the responsibility on himself, and it's killing him, it's crushing him. He needs to ask for help, he needs help to do this. But he thinks it's only his fight, and he has to do it alone, where he doesn't. He can reach out. So all of these potential Jedi children were scattered across. That's probably what Rey was. Left on Jakku, Han Solo brings her there with the others, like he's smuggling those kids around the place, trying to keep them hidden. But he knows that they're going to be after her. She's very powerful, like Kylo knows about her. That's the whole what girl thing. Yeah. That's this scavenger. I know there was a very powerful one that I was after as a prize. And to try and convince the big fat bastard that Simon Pegg plays, he's like, please, I need this child to look after. I need you to keep her around. He goes, fuck off, what can you have to offer me? And Han Solo gives him the Millennium Falcon. He gives it as collateral, like, to protect this child. And then they get on the shuttle and fly off. I think Luke wipes her memory, and that's her reaching out, like, don't go. That's who left her behind. She knows she was left behind, and that someone may come back for her. That's all she has left. But that Han Solo gave up the Falcon for this child was what I would...
That's how the Falcon ended up on that
planet. With that planet, and that's why he has it off to the side. So they've all gone their separate ways. Luke, that's why he can't come back. He gives her back the lightsaber. He's like, listen, I can't leave this island. It'll be like failing them again. I have to help them, continue on. I'll try and help train you. Oh, also, in my version of Force Awakens, Han Solo isn't killed. Han Solo is taken prisoner. And the reason being is he's seen as a massive bargaining chip for the Empire, for Hux. It's like, the head of the Resistance loves this man. She went so far, I've worked her out. A bit like Thrawn worked people out with art. She's not going to act rational, but on this, she loves this man, and that's going to be her downfall. I'll fucking kill him. Unless you give me what I want, disband. That's my bargaining chip. He would run afoul of Snoke and those people because this is what Snoke wants. He doesn't want just Kylo to kill his dad. He wants him to kill him in front of him to prove it. And this is Snoke's kind of philosophy, is like, you must rid yourself of absolutely everything to be absolutely certain that nothing controls you. No unconditional love. Nothing can... A bit like Heat. Never get involved in anything you can't walk away in 5 seconds flat. That's the only way. You have to go that fucking far. You need to prove this to me, that you were able to get this. And he's just moulding... That's what the Knights of Ren are. That's what there's... this is Kylo's promise. There's Vader in you. You're from that bloodline. But Vader is silent to him. He's convinced him that affection... That was what destroyed Darth Vader. Darth Vader could have been the greatest thing in history. but it was unconditional love. He couldn't get over that, and that's what destroyed the most powerful Force user of all time. And he's reaching out to Vader, and Vader's not talking to him, and he thinks that's a sort of he's got a perverted version of that like he's convinced him that Vader is out there and he can tap into that, and that's why he's got the helmet. Is he's trying to tap into that in himself, not necessarily the Force ghost of Anakin, but it's more of a symbolic thing. Anyway, I hope I'm making sense.
Yeah.
There would be now Chewbacca. I think Chewbacca's probably still on the island with them, and he would try and immediately drag Luke back onto the thing, like not even wait to be. He's like, "You're coming with us," and he'd have to explain and be like, "Okay."
They've got my fucking best friend.
They've got my best. They've got Han. We're going. This is like old times. We gotta rescue Han. I'm like, fucking shit. Okay, this isn't gonna. I can't leave the island. And he would attempt to help train Rey. They think Han might already be dead. It'd be revealed that he is still alive, and Hux would be hoping to publicly, not necessarily execute him, but like it would be the public threat. And so instead of the chase, we know that the armies are crippled. They're trying to get all their allies. So that's part of what Poe and them are doing, but they're trying to rescue Han Solo. A bit like Return of the Jedi, in a way. But they're after Han, so they're going to try and break in and help him. Now, the thing with Finn is Finn would wake up and he'd have issues. He's obviously a bit trying to walk again and that. He doesn't know what he's going to do with himself now. Everything's laid bare, but he takes it upon himself to go, I'm going to help you rescue Han Solo. Like, Han Solo helped me, I'm going to help you. Now, while this is happening, she and Kylo will start to have the Force connection, because that was a good thing. I did like that.
Yeah.
And you would get more of it. Now, she still is against them. They're still trying to work each other out, if you know what I mean. But while they're meditating, Han Solo will be brought into the throne room. There will be Snoke. Kill your father in front of him. Han will be giving Snoke shit as well, because he's fucking Han Solo.
Yeah.
And there'll be an intimation on him, kill your father, sort of, this is the one thing you have to do. You have to destroy unconditional love. So you make sure nothing has mastery over you. And Kylo is obviously conflicted. And she and Luke and Leia, they can see this in a Force vision, sort of. They're tied. He's making sure that they can see this. And I think they'd be breaking onto the ship while this happens. There would be some sort of, like, maybe an explosion going off for the guys trying to blow up the ship. Yeah. And in that moment, saber turns on. Han grips Kylo, pulls him in close to him, almost says something and dies in front of him. And Rey's like, you fucking, like, I'm going after him. I have to. And Luke's like, you can't do this. Obviously, Leia is in bits.
Yeah.
But she's trying to keep it together. It's all fallen to shit. The rescue mission has failed for Han.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's dead. But also, the guys are going to be possibly captured. They have to run. You might have them killed. Rose could be in this as their mechanic, as their kind of hacker. Yeah. And she could be far better of a character, I think, in this. A bit more Rogue One-y in that we're breaking into this place, we're fucking getting them back. Yeah. And we're going to do as much damage as we can, but we're always going to find out what the fuck they're on about. Actual espionage. Yeah. She's going to run off, try and go to get Han, and Luke goes, you can't do this. It's like, you've stayed back too long. You can't possibly, I can't allow you to do this, sort of. It's like, what the fuck would you know about it? And he holds up his hand. Yeah. I know what happens when you fucking run off untrained. Believe me. Yeah. Like, this is not the right way. He's just like, you can't stop me. He's like, I know. She would push him back with the Force in a bit of rage. He's like, oh shit, have I fucked up again? And she gets on and flies off. Now, she goes to go meet, to go to Kylo and that. And she kind of is stormed in, and that's sort of, you killed, Snoke had arranged for all of this to happen. Yeah. And she comes in, and he kind of gives the spiel, you are, like, you've seen that it's been a ruse by Snoke to Kylo. As soon as Snoke heard that this untrained girl beat Kylo, he was like, I backed the wrong apprentice. Yeah. So he's tried to manipulate her this entire time to give in to her rage and that. Kill Kylo. Take his place. Yeah. You'll be my fucking apprentice. I'll teach you everything you fucking want to know. And Kylo, he's like, you came from no one. You were abandoned. They didn't care about you enough. You were just a pawn in their games. You're not going to be a pawn in anyone's game after this. I'll give you the power to be who you want to be someone. And I won't hide training from you. I'll keep it back from you. And in this, Kylo realizes this is the catalyst for him. And she gives in, and they go to fight, and Kylo runs away. There's a kind of a skirmish, and they, like the lightsaber scene again, where they were fighting over the lightsaber. She reaches out for it, he reaches out for it, lightsaber flies into Kylo's hand, and he takes off running. He's broken. He's like, all I've done is for nothing, sort of. Runs, Knights of Ren are sort of after him. Snoke is laughing. He's like, yeah, run, fucking Ren, run. Yeah. And whatever. Now my new apprentice, like, we can finally fucking begin. Luke has that moment. He's meditating. He realizes, fuck, I have to get back involved. But the spirits of his partially manifested students appear in front of him. He's like, I can't leave you lost and abandoned in the living force. I have to. They're like, you have to get back involved, Luke. You have to go back. It's like, but who's going to look after you? Who's going to make sure that you make it into oneness with the Force? And one of them, his older student, would step forward and go, another guide has presented himself. One who has been all the way and has now come back. And it's Anakin Skywalker. The ghost of Anakin Skywalker, the chosen one. How poetic an ending. He's there to lead another group of younglings into the living force.
Younglings he hasn't killed.
Younglings he hasn't killed, but sort of, what a kind of atonement. One has come to atone for his sins. Yeah. And he'd be like, go son. It's never too late for anyone. So Luke would be, okay, fuck, I gotta get back involved, I gotta get back to my sister. Han is dead, like, we gotta do this. So he starts down the mountain. And he's gonna go raise up the X-Wing. And he sees Kylo waiting for him. And you're like, oh no. Like, he's gonna kill him. At least Luke is gonna die. And Kylo is, screaming like Skywalker at him, staggering forward at him. Walks straight up to him. Luke is like, doesn't know if he'll even fight back. If this is what he can do. But before he can say anything, Kylo starts crying. He gets down on one knee, and there's a mirror image from the end of Force Awakens. He pulls out the lightsaber and offers it to Luke. And he says, forgive me for everything I've done. Help me fix this. And Luke realized he was the only person who couldn't save Kylo, because Kylo's rage was directed at him and his shame was directed at him, where he was the only one who could save Vader, but in this case he was the only one who couldn't save Kylo. And he was trying to find a way to save Kylo, and he finally realized what could have saved Kylo. Kylo had to save himself. He had to see what happened to him happen to someone else from an outside perspective, empathy wise. And when he saw that happen to Rey, he realized, sort of, he came back. That was what broke him. So now we have a mirror. Rey has fallen to the dark side. Kylo has come back to the light. And the setup for the next one is, the only way you can make this right, Kylo, is to save her. The skirmish, that's how it ended. But in between that, the guys running away, the failed mission for Han Solo, they get separated. And Finn makes a decision, which is, there is another raid happening to take people for soldiers for the First Order. And he decides, in a kind of a Harriet Tubman way, there are other people in there that are like me. They're child soldiers, whatever. I'm going to go back. And he can't do this. I'm going back. He takes some First Order armor. It's like, I'm going to go back and I'm going to turn everyone I can. He's going to be Spartacus. He's going to go back in almost as a recruit, as a completely different number. And he's going to try and save as many First Order people from the inside, cause a revolt. And that's what his plan is. He's in again in the First Order lost. They're all scattered. And yeah, for 9, that would be the setup, but it also sort of revealed that Luke has to, from there, give the people he hid back their memories. And that Finn is a potential Jedi.
Or Poe.
Possibly Poe as well, but Finn was put on a planet and it got raided by the First Order, but Finn is... That's why, the lightsaber worked for him as well. That Finn is a potential Jedi.
Well, the lightsaber works for anybody.
Sure, but the sort of... Finn, I'd make Finn a potential. He doesn't necessarily have it, but he was there too. That a few of them, I'd have Billy Lord as well, possibly. I'd have her more of a character too. She could be Kylo's sister. Like, I'd imagine the Solos had more kids.
Yeah.
But that was kind of a general outline of how I would do it. I would do it in a mirror way.
Name of the First Order?
Oh yeah, so Hux would attempt a coup in 9, I believe. I don't know if I would do it in 8, but Hux would attempt a coup at some stage, and it would be revealed that he'd held them to fire upon Rey or someone, and he'd say, "Listen," the soldiers would be hesitant, and he'd say, "Listen, we are all that remains of the greatest empire that ever was, and we are the echo of the original command that caused this. Do you remember what that initial command was? That First Order? Kill the Jedi." So they are, Order 66 basically is what the First Order is. The order that created the Empire. Kill the fucking Jedi. Kill the Force users. So yeah, that was kind of a general outline. Calrissian, I'd actually kind of almost make him. He'd be with the rebellion already, but he'd be with the sort of like he'd be off having a good time. They'd have to bring him back into it. I don't know if I put him in the rescue mission.
No.
With Han. He might be more of a 9 thing.
Too much of the same.
Yeah.
If you put him in.
If you put him in again, that's true. Someone I would love to have had in it is Wedge Antilles.
Right.
I'd absolutely love to have Wedge. And they're basically... 8 is like, what the fuck, we're trying to, piece back together the army and mount a counterattack. That's what they're at. So that was kind of some ideas. Keeping with I'd probably write out a better one and throw it up on a saltier than crate, but on that subreddit of where he could go with that, and it would be a nice ending for Luke. In 9, he'd get to see Mara is off somewhere, like sort of hidden with a few other kids, and he'd get to come back, and you might have a nice thing where Luke had to do this. He had to. I guess he's not really a deadbeat dad, but his kid is grown up without him.
Yeah.
While he's off doing this, and it'd be nice to maybe have a little rhyming thing where after this is all done, him and Mara get to be together, and little boy comes forward and he's like, "You recognize me? I am your father." So,
You're Luke Skywalker. No, I am your wait. Yeah, Luke Skywalker.
I'm Luke Skywalker. Yeah. See, the whole thing was there was a way to make Luke jaded and Luke in solitude without him having turned his back on everyone.
I think cut himself off from the Force.
He could be a sort of. It should be conflicting responsibilities, too much responsibilities, and that would be the kind of mirror with him and Kylo. Kylo's thing is that he is failure to take responsibility for his problems in the past, and the idea that I can it doesn't matter what I do because I can fix it, is what is primarily motivating him, but it's also twisting him, turning him, and corrupting him, to the point that by the time he possibly gets the power, there's no one to save.
Yeah.
Whereas Luke's thing is, I believe I have to take all of the sins on for myself. I have to go out and do this all myself. It's like, no, it's okay for you to ask for help. It's okay for you to reach out. You don't have to save everyone anymore. There's other people that can do this now too. Pass the torch.
The only flaw in your...
Well, there's a few flaws,
pitch.
I'd imagine. Because it's like off the bat, I don't have any notes.
I know it's off the bat, and like, literally off the bat, I put a mic in front of him and say, go. How does Kylo find Luke?
The Force.
Because he's connected to it again.
Well, kind of, yeah. But if they were doing the motif of the lightsaber, I kind of like the idea that it would Rey is now unworthy, so that it flies into his hand. But I just kind of like the idea of a mirror image of, you think he's come to kill him. It's like, fuck, you ruined everything again. Like, you took away my chance to do it. I'm going to fucking kill you. And he just drops to his knees, holds it out to him. Forgive it, helping me make this right. And you have the same circling shot.
Yeah. Sounds awesome. And would have made a better movie, for sure.
Oh, I'm glad you liked it.
Oh, I love it. But, with the movie that we did get, one way they could have just easily fixed it at the very end. Well, not fix it entirely. It still would have been shit.
Like, I'd be open for changing bits of this as well.
One bit would have made it better. This is another thing that you said would have been awesome, and I'm stealing it.
Previously.
Is where in private, well, not in private, but like not recorded. After Luke has done his force projection, they've gone away, whatever. He drops on the rock.
Yeah.
He gets back up.
Lifts the. Yeah.
He goes down, and he fucking lifts the X-wing out of the fucking sea, and that's how.
That's the final lesson.
That's the final. That's how it cut there.
Well,
Instead of him dying.
if we're doing just changing specific things inside of Last Jedi, not remaking it from the ground up, then that whole ending, I would have him there at Crate, and I would have him holding back all of the lasers from the, like Kylo freezes the bolt, he freezes all of them. Yeah. And they keep firing, and they like, well, sorry, no, first, like, they stop. Kylo doesn't fire on them, they go down to meet, and while he's down there, Hux sees his opportunity, does the same speech, kill the Jedi, I have him here, have everyone fire on Luke and Kylo to wipe out two with one stone. So the bolts come in, Luke starts stopping them, and Leia runs out, and you could have also said she was trained, but in her moment of instinct as well, holds back a bolt from her son, and is helping hold them back. And Luke is holding them all back, and Kylo was knocked to the floor, sort of. They're holding back this barrage of just extreme blaster fire from the rugged AT-AT walkers. And they're being pushed back, and then the ghosts appear. Also, because in the concept art, you had a specific ghost that had a hood that you never really saw. He had like a weird aura. And he would be you'd see Luke kind of maybe possibly talking with him, and then he'd be disappear when Rey comes in. So you've set him up as being there. The ghost would appear next to Luke and basically they would say they were burning away what was left of their presence in this world so they could move on to the next by giving them the strength to, like, Obi-Wan and Yoda hold up their hands and are helping hold back. If we establish they can call down the lightning, fuck it. They're holding back, but they're starting to sort of fade away. And Kylo gets up and he sees Luke is, obviously distracted. He lights his lightsaber and he starts to slowly walk towards the thing, and Leia is torn because she's holding back the fire on her son, but he's going for her brother, and she's like desperately calling out to him, do I let my son die or let my brother die, basically. Please stop. He's getting closer and closer, and he's right near Luke, and then the hooded figure steps forward and he just stops, and the hood comes back, and it's Anakin Skywalker, and he looks at Kylo and he just smiles at him, and he says, or he doesn't even need to say anything, but if he does, he goes, it's never too late. And with one hand he holds it up, opens it up, fucking Will of the Chosen One, all of the fucking blaster bolts go backwards and obliterate all of the AT-AT walkers. Knock Kylo to the floor, obviously with the shockwave. So the whole army is wiped out. The rebels have been given a state of execution better than this. They're all back to square one. The rebels get to go and escape. Falcon lands. Luke gets on. I'd have it that he's there, I guess. The twin shot is cool, but I might save that for another time. But he gets on, they all sort of get on. Or he goes with his X-Wing. And the last shot Kylo sees is his mother, and his mother gets on, and Rey looks down at him with the Falcon, going up like their Force vision was in the ruins of his army, and they fly away. And in the middle of it, in absolute misery, he just walks back through his army. Hux is climbing out of a cabin, just with the Force brings him forward, and Hux like defiantly goes, fuck you, like in a way, like sort of, I did it. He goes for the Empire, and Kylo doesn't choke him to death. He just snaps his neck with the Force. He's like, I'm the supreme leader now, and that's where I'd end it that way. But I'd have it that they reverse and it'd be a cool way to bring Anakin back into it. Sort of, they burned themselves away, but that just the sheer power of them. Yeah,
but you're already bringing Obi-Wan to fucking burn away.
Yeah, but he's still there.
You're wasting Ewan McGregor.
Hello there.
Hello there.
You are a bold one. But yeah, that would be one way you could do it, sort of, if you know what I mean. I wouldn't keep the hyperspace RAM. It just causes too many problems. It's a really cool shot, but it's
a very cool shot.
But it causes so many problems.
But it does fuck all.
No, it obliterates the thing.
It doesn't.
It does.
They're all on the fucking ship, right?
Oh yeah. Well, that's true. It should have done way worse.
It should have done way worse damage. It should have ripped the ship in half, but it didn't.
I wouldn't kill Akbar either.
But he died early on in it.
They just killed him off screen.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. By the way, Admiral Akbar's dead. It's like.
Admiral Akbar is up there with fucking what you call him, Django. No,
Boba Fett.
In like, I don't get the fucking appeal.
Oh, Mon Camal.
It's a trap. That's his greatest fucking
He
contribution
commanded
to Star Wars.
that fleet. He did the right thing. He was a competent commander. It's good in the EU. Shut your mouth. That fish-faced man is a goddamn hero, and I won't hear anything bad said about him.
It's a trap.
Because of me, no doubt.
Boba Fett.
So yeah, ancillary as well. Sorry, don't know if I mentioned this, and this you might have to edit this in. It would be revealed in 9 as well. Like Luke would be very reluctant to teach Kylo. It's like, you killed your dad, you killed my best friend, and it would be revealed that you thought he killed him, but he didn't. When that distraction happened that I mentioned earlier, what happened was Han had heard all of this, and he used that moment to ignite the lightsaber and kill himself. And when he drew in Kylo like near him, he whispered, "I love you, son. I did this for you." He doesn't necessarily have to say that. Just needs to tell him he loves him. And the reason for that was Luke would go, okay, I get it. What Han did was Han realized that for Ben to permanently be under control, he'd have to kill his own father. That was the only way. So Han took that moment away from him forever. Made sure he could never kill him, because he killed himself. Took it away from him. So the dark side could never have a permanent hold on his child. And that's how I would have had him go out. He ignited it.
That could still be revealed.
Yeah.
But it won't.
Possibly not.
Enough talk!